Hello, my name is Adam Garland. I am the town manager here in Oxford. This is one of many videos I'm putting out this year in order to review the proposed town budget for this year. It'll also review the associated warrant articles. If you're looking for a general overview of the entire budget and warrant, you can refer back to the original video that was just posted prior to this one that goes over the total for the entire town. In this video, however, we're going to focus on the administrative budget, which is article number 4, the code enforcement budget, which is article number 5, general assistance, which is article number 11, and then the boards and committees, which is article number 18. So as a reminder, as you can see over my shoulder here, the Oxford Town Meeting this year is June 3rd at 10 a.m. It'll be held at 79 Pleasant Street, which is the school located behind the old town office. So without any more delay, let's get over to my screen share here, and I'll bring up the administrative budget, which is where we'll get started. So first, with the administrative budget and with all the budgets, you're going to find that up in the corner here, it tells you which warrant article is associated. As I said before, warrant article number 4. You have what the line item, the account number, which is for our internal use, but then what the title of it is, along with a description on the budget sheet, shows you last year's amount, this year's proposed amount, and then what the total request is for this year. So I will go over line by line each of the individual lines in the budget, but I wanted to first give the total for the administrative budget for this year. This year, the proposed budget is $691,981. That is over last year, which was at $683,542. That's an $8,439 increase. So let's start at the top here for the administrative and go over what these changes are. So starting at the top, the first line we have is the regular payroll, and this encompasses 6 employees. There's a $23,302 increase. This encompasses cost of living, as well as we've had some changes in personnel with folks coming and going. So that's where you're finding those changes. The overtime line does remain the same at $1,000. Overtime, thankfully, for the administrative employees is fairly minimal. Overtime might be run into around potentially around election time, or if a staff member needs to be held over for a specific meeting or what have you. But we try and keep that to a minimum and try and flex the staff schedule in order to avoid any overtime. We also have the election worker line. This does see an increase of $1,000, which brings the total to $1,500 over the $500 from the past. A big part of that is the fact that the minimum wage increased to $13.80 this year. And also we are doing a little bit better at calculating how many hours we need for the election clerks. We're also finding elections are becoming quite busy, so sometimes we're needing a little more personnel or clerks, excuse me, at some of these elections. So as we scroll down, we'll find the benefits portion. Now, the Social Security SSI is based on 6.2% of payroll that you see above, and that sees an increase of $1,507, bringing the line to $22,910. The Medicare sees 1.45% of payroll, so that also sees an increase of $352, bringing the total to $5,358. Health insurance does see a decrease of $5,916, bringing it down to $82,836. This is based on the enrollments of the individual, the individuals within the administrative departments, which plans, they're enrolled at. Some folks choose to only take the health insurance buyout. Some folks choose to participate in the plans that we offer here at the town, and depending on what level the plan they are enrolled at dictates what the actual cost is here. Maine State Retirement, or Maine PERS, I should say, Maine Public Employees Retirement System, which the town participates in, as well as a 457 plan that is offered, sees a decrease of $3,068, bringing that to $23,875. Also see a slight decrease of $49 in the workers' comp, bringing that line to $1,478. As you can see, the rates are different. I'm not 100% sure why that the rate is different for the town manager versus the clerical and so forth. But that is what our workers' comp provider provides us for rates, and that is based on the payroll of those positions. So we move down to utilities. We see an increase in the electrical, which is $743, bringing the total for that line to $7,543. Fuel oil, you can see that that's been zeroed out. It was $16,000. The reason that was zeroed out is the new location at 127 Paul Road. Everything runs on propane, so we don't need to buy fuel oil up here. So that's why you're seeing that zeroed out. Of course, we can't go without having any kind of cost for heat. You'll see some of that at the next line, which is the propane line, which is at $12,000, and which is, of course, a decrease from the 16 for heating oil, which is nice, but still $12,000 for heating needs. And this is based on projected use for the building and projected pricing and so forth. And we have that over here in the description. So just a note on the pricing that you'll see throughout for gallons on fuel and fuel oil or propane and so forth. The town does not have to pay tax on these things, as well as with for instance, propane in this case, we're able to buy enough bulk that's one of the reasons that the prices may seem a little bit low compared to what you might see if you go to the local vendor and buy it yourself. So telephone, we have a decrease of $2,376, bringing the total to $1,824. We are using a different phone provider up here at 127 Potter Road versus when we were on Pleasant Street, and so that other provider is providing much better pricing. Excuse me. So internet, we see that remains the same at $1,800. Water usage is seeing a slight increase of $28, and that sees $292 total. Office supplies remains the same at $10,000. As you can see in the description, that's everything from cleaning supplies, paper products, economic development supplies, and so forth, the general things that you would imagine. Postage, that sees an increase of $1,000, bringing the line to $9,000. We've kind of given an idea of what we use that for. Bulk is about 6,000 pieces regular, 1,200 tax bills, and postage did go up this year. We're all feeling that across the board, of course. Legal notices sees a decrease of $1,000, bringing it to $4,000. And then we have our forms, and these are the actual, as you can see in the description, the W-2s, the 1099s, that kind of stuff remains the same at $1,500. Election supplies remains the same at $2,500. Equipment supply remains the same at $1,000. As the description says, that's for simple things within the office: chairs, desks, just simple stuff that breaks in an office or needs to be replaced. The town report, which has an increase of $350, and that's based on the projected amount of 500 copies at $2.70 a copy. And speaking of the town report, as I mentioned in the original video, the town report is available here at the town office as well as on our website, oxfordmaine.org. If you should like to take a look, I'd highly encourage. It's got a lot of useful information in it. The clerks did a wonderful job putting that together. Filing fees remains the same at $9,000. Assessing and tax maps remains the same at $23,000. Try to break that down. $3,000 for the software and the mapping, and then $20,000 for the assessing agent. Computer maintenance and Trio sees an increase of $1,012, bringing it to $37,712. Broken down what all those costs are, but just to give an overview, Trio is the database that we use here at the town office for all of your transactions. When you come in and you register your dog, your vehicle, you pay your taxes. So any of our cash receipting and a lot of those things all go through Trio. And that's why that cost is somewhat significant, because that has regular IT and maintenance updates and so forth. And of course, we have our regular generic IT services for everything from what you'd expect IT to do, computer problems and so forth. And we contract out for that service. The copier sees an increase of $3,000, bringing the line to $6,000. So you'll see that we have in the Old Town office, we had one photocopier that did color and all, those type of things. But then we had a whole bunch of random little printers throughout, the generic, like you'd buy at Walmart and so forth. So what we've done here is we've gotten rid of a lot of those little generic printers, and we were able to get a good deal from Rico to have an additional 2 black and white photocopiers that are significantly less per page or per copy with the prints, and they have maintenance, and they just work significantly better. So though you're seeing a little bit of an increase in the cost for the copiers, the hope is once we have a year of working with these and we weed out the old machines, that we're actually going to see a decrease in the future on the cost of printing and copying and so forth. And also a lot of things are going to be more digital, so we'll see some hopeful decreases there as well. So the elevator, one of my favorite things about the old building, that's just a running joke because the elevator was always a challenge to all of us at the old building. And those of you that have been around town for a while, I'm sure can identify. So yes, so the elevator, we do not have an elevator in the new building, so that line has been zeroed out. So that's a $4,000 reduction. Auditing remains the same at $12,000. We are required every year to have an audit done. We have legal administration remains the same at $20,000. Legal administration is when we need to consult with legal, with the attorney for questions regarding deeds or other processes or any of those type of things, or lawsuits, of course, which we hope don't happen. The postage meter, that sees a reduction of $1,078, bringing it to $650. That is a quarterly, as you can see, lease for the postage meter. Under professional, we see an increase for dues of $231, bringing it to $12,731. That's everything from AV-COG, MMA memberships, and Oxford Hill Chamber. So AV-COG, which is the Androscoggin Valley Chamber, the AV-COG is what helps us with our purchasing power and bid power for like the salt that we use on the road. So we go into a joint bid with them, and we're able to get much more aggressive pricing on road salt. That's just one simple example. The Maine municipal membership, that provides us access to a lot of really good information that we can use here, some legal support, as well as human resource support, as well as just access to listservs, which the manager can use, or the clerk or the finance can use to pose questions and receive information, as well as other guidance and so forth. So the Maine municipal membership is definitely very, very important to us here. They also offer a few different types of grant programs that we have taken advantage of. You've seen a lot of that, usually called safety grants or something, in the amount of $2,000 or $3,000. The fire department has taken advantage of that a lot in order to replace the radio, replace other safety equipment, and so forth. So training and conferences, that sees an increase of $200, bringing the line to $2,000. Mileage remains the same at $100. So that seems pretty minimal, just as an FYI on the mileage. We have a couple of town vehicles, the pickup truck that the code enforcement officer uses, as well as the electric vehicle that we were able to lease a couple of years ago for next to nothing through Efficiency Maine. So with those things available, we can keep the mileage to a minimal, and the employees are encouraged to use the town vehicle if they have to do any business. Manager expense line remains the same at $500. Building and grounds sees a reduction of $3,000, bringing it to $9,000. One of the reasons you see a reduction is that the new building that we're in here on Pottle Road is it's in significantly better shape than where we came from. So we're anticipating significantly less repairs. So speaking of vehicles, the Hyundai Kona maintenance, that's the electric vehicle I just mentioned a moment ago. We're keeping the maintenance line for that at $500. And for those that are curious, that lease will be up this year and the vehicle will be returned, I believe it is in March or April, back to Hyundai. So we will not have it after this year. So that brings us back to the final total for administration of $691,981, a total increase of $8,439. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to go back up. Sorry for the scrolling. I'd like to go back up to the code enforcement officer budget. So for code enforcement, the total budget is $91,115. That's a $3,083 increase. So you'll find on the town meeting warrant, code enforcement is within article number 5. So we have regular payroll showing an increase of $2,415, bringing it to $60,934. And that is based on that increase is based on the cost of living and so forth for the employee wages. The health officer stipend is $800. We are required annually, and that remains the same. We are required by law to have a health officer appointed here in town. Social Security sees an increase of $150, bringing it to $3,827. That is based on payroll. Medicare sees an increase of $35, bringing it to $895, and again, based on payroll. Health insurance is based on employee enrollment, and based on our current enrollment, we have a $252 increase, bringing it to $13,170. Retirement, as you can see, is also based on payroll. Sees an increase of $381, bringing the total for that line to $5,423. Workers' comp sees a decrease of $150, bringing it to $1,766. It's also based on payroll. The code enforcement officer receives a $25 a month stipend for his cell phone, and that is remaining at $300, same as last year. We're projecting same for gasoline at $4 a gallon at $750 for this year. Again, as a reminder on the fuel, we're not having to pay taxes and so forth, so we are able to get it for a little less than you would see at the pump. But however, with gasoline, it just seems as though in conversations with the selectmen, the budget committee, and then what we're seeing in research, the gas prices are just so crazy this last couple of years. We felt $4 a gallon was probably the best course of action to make sure we had a sufficient amount. Training and conferences remains the same at $1,200. That is for his professional development and other certifications that he needs. Mileage remains the same at $50. Again, the expectation is the code officer would use the pickup truck that is available for him to use, but in the off chance that for some reason that the vehicle is in the shop or not available, we left a small amount here for him to be able to use for mileage. Vehicle repairs and maintenance, that remains the same at $2,000, and that is for, again, the pickup truck that we have here at the town office for the code officer to use for his duties. The total again for the code enforcement office is $91,115, a $3,083 increase from last year. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring us to the general assistance budget so we can review that. So let me bear with me and I will scroll down to that. I do hope that you're enjoying this information, and I hope that it is helpful. So general assistance is going to be found in article number 11. The general assistance article this year or budget sees a decrease of $5,050, bringing the total to $7,800. Now you may be asking, whoa, in today's day and age, how can the general assistance budget be going down? So let me give you a quick breakdown of where this number comes from. So on average, we see about 102 general assistance applicants that we serve here in town every year. We are, meaning the town is reimbursed by the state. Yeah, so after reimbursement, the average cost of the town per person is $77. And the state reimbursement rate is 70%. So we aren't having, meaning the town isn't having to pay in the long term, the full amount for the general assistance because we're working with the state and receiving state reimbursement for those costs. So based on our average amount of folks that we end up serving throughout the year and what the average cost is per person, that brings us to the $7,800 total for the year. Yes, we have noticed, this last year that there was some uptick in the amount of general assistance, but we're confident that this $7,800 will suffice as long as the state continues to work with us with the reimbursements. So now moving on to the boards and committees. Now, boards and committees is the Board of Selectmen, as well as the Appeals Board and the, excuse me, the Appeals Board and the Planning Board. Here we are. So for boards and committees, you'll find that under Article 18, all of these amounts stay the same. The total for these are $14,425. That includes a selectman stipend at $12,000, the associated Medicare and Social Security. Planning board remains the same at $1,200 with the Social Security and Medicare, and then appeals board at $200, again, Social Security and Medicare that goes along with it. So the total for all three boards, their stipends, Social Security, Medicare payments, and so forth, brings us to $14,425. So those are the budgets that we were going to review here in this video. Again, reminder, June 3rd, 10 a.m. is town meeting this year. Really hope to see you there. I hope you found this information helpful. If you have any questions or you would like to discuss, you can reach out to me, the town manager, Adam Garland, anytime, and I'm glad to have a conversation. Or you can reach out to one of the selectmen. I'm sure that they would be happy to answer any of your questions that you might have. So for other departments, feel free to check out the other videos that will be posted along with this one. And again, I hope to see you at town meeting, and I hope this was helpful. Thank you for joining me.